There's a psychological principle so counterintuitive that it feels unnatural, yet holds the key to transforming how others perceive and pursue you. What if the most powerful way to capture someone's attention wasn't through pursuit, but through purposeful retreat? Carl Jung's exploration of the human psyche revealed a fascinating truth. We are wired to value what requires discovery, to desire what maintains its mystery. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about understanding the psychological mechanisms that govern human attraction and connection. When you comprehend these underlying principles, you stop chasing validation and start embodying the very qualities that naturally draw people toward you. The art of meaningful distance isn't about rejection. It's about becoming someone worth pursuing. Have you ever noticed that the more you make yourself available, the less certain people seem to appreciate your presence? This paradox points to a fundamental aspect of human psychology that Jung explored in depth. Within every person exists what he called the quest for meaning, an innate drive to overcome challenges, to earn what is valued, to discover what remains partially hidden. When everything is freely given without effort, this fundamental psychological mechanism remains dormant. The person may enjoy the comfort of your availability, but they won't experience the deep, compelling pull that transforms casual interest into genuine pursuit. Jung discovered that our deepest motivations spring from this need to become someone worthy of what we desire. This understanding has nothing to do with playing hard to get. It's about embodying someone worth discovering, not as a prize to be won, but as a person whose depth, self-respect, and inner richness naturally inspire others to rise to the occasion. What is easily obtained is rarely cherished. What requires discovery becomes unforgettable. This psychological insight requires looking beyond conventional relationship advice and into the realm of how human consciousness actually operates. Jung mapped the landscape of the human soul, identifying patterns that govern our deepest drives. One of the most powerful dynamics he identified involves what happens when we maintain appropriate psychological space. When you pull back your constant availability, you create what Jung termed symbolic space, the fertile ground where curiosity, reflection, and genuine desire can grow. This space isn't empty. It's filled with potential. It invites others to lean in, to wonder, to engage more deeply. The key lies in understanding 3 psychological principles that activate this natural dynamic of attraction. The first principle is psychological autonomy. This involves maintaining your own center, your own interests, your own life separate from any relationship. Most people interact from what Jung called the persona, the social self that seeks approval and connection. But when you learn to operate from your authentic center, you create a different kind of presence. This isn't about being distant or cold. It's about having a genuine life that exists beyond any single relationship. When someone enters your world, they should discover a person already rich with purpose and passion, not someone waiting to be filled by their attention. This fulfills a deep human need for meaning and substance. Neuroscience confirms this dynamic. When we encounter someone with clear self-possession, our brains engage more fully. You become associated not just with comfort, but with inspiration. The second principle is the power of unfinished patterns. The human mind is wired to seek completion, to solve mysteries, to understand what remains partially revealed. In a world of constant connectivity and instant gratification, maintaining appropriate mystery becomes remarkably compelling. Jung emphasized the importance of what he called individuation, the process of developing your unique personality and inner world. When you have dimensions that aren't immediately accessible to others, you naturally become more fascinating. This isn't about being secretive or playing games. It's about having a genuine interior life that unfolds gradually. Your presence should be like an engaging story that reveals new layers over time, not a summary that can be fully understood in one reading. This touches on a fundamental psychological truth. We value what we discover through our own curiosity far more than what is simply presented to us. The third principle is perhaps the most transformative: reciprocal engagement. This involves creating relationships where both people contribute equally to the connection. Every healthy relationship requires mutual investment. When one person consistently gives more attention, energy, and pursuit than the other, the psychological balance becomes distorted. The overgiver gradually loses self-respect, while the receiver often loses interest. When you recalibrate this balance by pulling back your excessive investment, you create the conditions for genuine mutual desire to develop. This isn't about punishment or creating insecurity. It's about establishing healthy relational dynamics where both people feel equally valued and engaged. When you believe in your own worth enough to expect reciprocal engagement, you give others the opportunity to step up and meet you at that level. These three principles work together to create what we might call authentic attraction, an attraction based not on neediness or manipulation, but on mutual respect and genuine connection. When someone experiences this with you, their interest transcends superficial infatuation. They associate you with their own growth and self-discovery. You become integral to their journey toward becoming a more complete person. This creates a bond that is both profound and enduring. Let's explore how these principles translate into practical interaction. Psychological autonomy in practice means maintaining your own vibrant life, regardless of relationship status. Continue pursuing your passions, nurturing your friendships, developing your skills. When asked about your day, share with authentic enthusiasm, but maintain the understanding that your happiness isn't dependent on any single person's attention. I'm deeply involved in my creative project right now. It's challenging, but incredibly fulfilling, communicates more substance than constantly seeking validation. This isn't about hiding your life. It's about having a life so rich that it doesn't require external validation to feel meaningful. Your fulfillment should come from within first. When it does, it naturally becomes attractive to others. The power of unfinished patterns manifests through allowing relationships to unfold naturally rather than forcing premature intimacy. Share yourself gradually, allowing others the pleasure of discovering you over time. When conversations occur, be fully present, but don't feel compelled to reveal your entire history in one sitting. Allow there to be aspects of you that continue to unfold as trust deepens. This isn't about being mysterious for mystery's sake. It's about respecting the natural rhythm of human connection. Healthy relationships, like good stories, need room to breathe, to develop, to surprise us. Your inner world should be fascinating to you first. When it is, it will naturally become fascinating to others. Reciprocal engagement might be the most challenging to implement, but it's also the most transformative. It begins with observing whether others match your investment in the relationship. Do they initiate contact as often as you do? Do they remember important details about your life? Do they make time for you in their schedule? When you notice imbalance, gently recalibrate by mirroring their level of investment. If you're always the one planning get-togethers, wait for them to suggest the next meeting. If you're consistently the first to text, allow space for them to reach out. This approach doesn't punish or manipulate. It simply establishes healthy boundaries. It communicates, I value this connection, and I believe it should be mutually nurturing. This builds relationships based on genuine care rather than convenience or habit. What's fascinating is how modern psychology validates these principles. Studies show that when people maintain healthy autonomy, they experience greater life satisfaction and more fulfilling relationships. When connections unfold gradually rather than rushing to intimacy, they develop greater depth and resilience. And when relationships feature reciprocal engagement, both people experience higher levels of trust and commitment. These aren't manipulative tactics. They're ways of interacting that align with how healthy human psychology actually functions. They create the conditions for connections that are both passionate and sustainable. It's crucial to understand what this approach is not. This isn't about playing games or manipulating emotions. It's about embodying qualities that naturally foster healthy connection. The difference is fundamental. One comes from a place of strategy and lack, the other from a place of wholeness and self-respect. When you approach relationships from this grounded place, you're not trying to get something from someone. You're offering a quality of presence that naturally brings out the best in others. And in doing so, you create connections based on mutual admiration and genuine care. Many people have been conditioned to believe that to be loved, they must be constantly available, endlessly accommodating, always putting others' needs first. While generosity is beautiful, when it crosses into self-abandonment, it ultimately serves no one. You cannot build a genuine connection by disappearing yourself. In fact, the opposite is true. The more you honor your own wholeness, the more you invite others to meet you at that level. This is the psychological truth Jung identified. We find the best relationships not by seeking completion from another, but by bringing our complete selves to the connection. When two whole people meet, they create something greater than either could alone. This understanding transforms not just how you relate to others, but how you relate to yourself. The work begins internally. Before you can maintain healthy autonomy in relationships, you must value your own company and interests. Before you can allow connections to unfold naturally, you must trust in your own worthiness. Before you can expect reciprocal engagement, you must be engaged in your own becoming. The most magnetic quality anyone can possess is authentic self-possession. When you're truly invested in your own life, pursuing your own purposes, developing your own capacities, you naturally become more compelling to yourself and to others. Your energy doesn't whisper, "Please complete me," but states clearly, "I'm already complete, and I'm interested in connecting with other complete people." This is profoundly attractive. As you integrate these principles, you'll notice shifts in your relationships. The people you attract will be different, more substantial, more growth-oriented, more capable of genuine connection. The dynamic will feel different, less anxious, more mutually respectful. And you'll feel different, more empowered, more authentic, more secure in your value. This isn't about getting a specific person to behave a certain way. It's about evolving your relational consciousness. When you change, your relational world changes with you. The most compelling presence is one that doesn't need to prove its worth. Some might worry that this approach is too challenging, that people simply want easy, comfortable relationships. But this misunderstands human psychology at its core. While comfort has its place, what truly engages our deepest selves is meaning, growth, and discovery. When a relationship becomes merely comfortable, it often becomes stagnant. When it includes appropriate challenge and mutual inspiration, it remains vibrant and alive. People don't want partners who make them feel inadequate, but they do want partners who inspire them to become more fully themselves. They want to feel that in connecting with you, they become more of who they're meant to be. This perspective represents a significant shift from how relationships are often approached. Rather than asking, "How can I make them love me?" the question becomes, "How can I be the kind of person who inspires the love I want to experience?" Rather than, "How can I get them to commit?" it becomes, "How can I create a connection worth committing to?" This shift in focus, from manipulating outcomes to cultivating quality, changes everything. It moves you from a position of powerlessness to one of creative agency. You're not waiting for someone to choose you. You're actively co-creating the quality of connection between you. As we integrate these understandings, it's important to remember that this is a journey, not a destination. There will be missteps and learning moments. The goal isn't perfection, but increasing awareness and authenticity. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to practice maintaining your center while opening to genuine connection. Over time, these principles become less like techniques and more like natural ways of being. They become integrated into who you are and how you relate. The ultimate purpose of this understanding isn't simply to create romantic success, but to facilitate human growth, both yours and others. The most profound relationships are those where both people help each other become more fully themselves. When you approach connection from this place, you contribute to the evolution of consciousness itself. You participate in creating relationships that are not just personally fulfilling, but that actually make the world better by bringing more integrated, awake people into it. This is the deeper gift of psychological wisdom. It shows us how our personal relationships can become vehicles for collective growth and healing. If this perspective on creating meaningful connection resonates with you, please support our community by liking this video and subscribing to Winds of Thought for more explorations into psychology and relationships.